Labrador Retrievers have one of the best reputations in the entire dog world. They're friendly, loyal, affectionate, great with families, and somehow manage to make friends almost everywhere they go. But Labrador owners eventually notice something strange. The dog gets older, the body gets bigger, the face gets older. But mentally, something seems to stay exactly the same. Because Labradors have a reputation for acting like puppies long after puppyhood is supposed to be over. They stay excited, they stay curious, they stay playful, and sometimes they stay just reckless enough to make owners wonder if maturity was ever part of the plan. So today we're talking about why Labrador Retrievers never seem to grow up, and why that might actually be one of the biggest reasons people love them. Before we start, make sure to check out our selected and recommended products linked down below. 1. Everything is the best day ever. One of the biggest reasons Labradors never seem to grow up is that they approach almost every situation with the emotional excitement of a child waking up on Christmas morning. Seriously, these dogs are unbelievably enthusiastic about life. Food, best day ever. Walk, best day ever. Ball, best day ever. Family member comes home, possibly the greatest event in human history, and honestly, that's one of the first things owners notice about the breed. Most dogs calm down as they age. Labradors definitely become more manageable over time, but many never lose that overwhelming sense of excitement about ordinary events. A 10-year-old Labrador can sometimes react to dinner with the same enthusiasm it had when it was 10 months old. And the funny thing is that they genuinely mean it. This isn't acting. This isn't manipulation. The Labrador brain simply seems hardwired to find joy in almost everything. Which sounds wonderful, until your 80-pound dog launches itself across the room because somebody picked up a leash. And honestly, social media doesn't fully capture how relentless this optimism can be. A Labrador doesn't just enjoy life, it attacks life with enthusiasm. You can perform the exact same routine every day for years, and the dog still reacts like it's a completely new and exciting experience. Open the car door, adventure. Open the fridge, potential adventure. Pick up your shoes, definitely adventure. Stand up from the couch. Adventure is now being considered, and because Labradors are so people-focused, a lot of that excitement becomes attached to whatever their owners are doing. To a Labrador, you're not just a person. You're the source of fun, the source of food, the source of walks, the source of games, the source of basically everything good that's ever happened, which means your existence is automatically exciting. And honestly, that's part of what makes them feel permanently young. Most adult animals eventually become a little more reserved, a little more predictable, a little less impressed by everyday life. Many Labradors never receive that update. At 8 years old, they're still reacting to a tennis ball like scientists just invented it yesterday. And while that enthusiasm can occasionally become exhausting, it's also one of the most lovable things about them. Because in a world where most humans slowly become cynical, stressed, and tired, Labradors somehow spend their entire lives convinced that today might be the greatest day ever. And honestly, that's a pretty impressive way to live. 2. Labradors have unlimited enthusiasm. If there's one thing that truly separates Labradors from a lot of other breeds, it's the fact that they seem to possess a nearly endless supply of enthusiasm, not necessarily energy. Enthusiasm, because those aren't always the same thing. A husky has energy, a border collie has energy, a Labrador has enthusiasm, and honestly, sometimes that's even harder to manage. Because enthusiasm doesn't need a reason. A Labrador can become excited about absolutely nothing. You might be sitting quietly on a Tuesday afternoon, doing absolutely nothing interesting, and suddenly your Labrador decides this is the perfect moment to sprint through the house like it just received life-changing news. No explanation, no warning, no follow-up statement. Just pure emotional momentum. And what's funny is that many labs never fully outgrow this behavior. Puppies get random bursts of excitement because they're young. Labradors often keep getting them because they're Labradors. Owners know exactly what this looks like. One second the dog is resting peacefully. The next second it's running laps around furniture, carrying a toy, sliding across the floor, and behaving like somebody secretly increased the playback speed. And somehow the dog looks thrilled about the whole thing. The funny part is that Labradors aren't trying to be chaotic. They're just incredibly enthusiastic participants in life. Everything feels worth investigating. Everything feels worth doing. Everything feels worth getting excited about. And because they're so optimistic, many labs approach situations with complete confidence regardless of whether confidence is justified. New object, let's check it out. New person, let's meet them. New activity, let's do it. Potentially bad idea, let's do it enthusiastically. This is why so many Labrador owners describe their dogs as lovable goofballs. They're intelligent dogs, but their excitement often arrives before their decision-making process. The Labrador brain frequently works like this. Step 1. Get excited. Step 2. Commit fully. Step 3. Figure out details later. And honestly, that approach creates a surprising amount of chaos. Not destructive chaos like some breeds, just harmless, enthusiastic chaos. The kind where a dog accidentally knocks over a chair because it became too happy about seeing a tennis ball, or greets visitors with enough excitement to make them wonder whether the dog believes they've returned from a 10-year expedition. And even as Labradors age, that enthusiasm rarely disappears completely. Their joints may get older, their face may turn gray, their movements may slow down. But the excitement? For many Labradors, that stays exactly where it's always been, somewhere around 8 months old. 3. They never stop wanting attention. One of the reasons Labradors feel permanently young is because many of them never lose their obsession with people. These dogs genuinely love being around humans, and not in a casual, nice seeing you kind of way. More like, I would like to participate in literally everything you're doing for the rest of my life. And honestly, that's both adorable and occasionally exhausting. A lot of dog breeds enjoy spending time with their owners. Labradors often make human interaction their favorite activity. You don't need a toy. You don't need a game. Sometimes the Labrador is perfectly happy simply being wherever you are. Kitchen, present. Living room, present. Bathroom, unfortunately, present. Bedroom, already there somehow. And the funny thing is that they rarely seem to understand the concept of personal space. A Labrador sees you sitting comfortably on a couch and immediately concludes that the optimal seating arrangement involves placing at least 70% of its body weight directly on top of you. And if the dog weighs 35 kilograms, that's now your problem. What's interesting is that this behavior doesn't usually disappear with age. Most puppies are attention-seeking. That's normal, but many Labradors continue acting like affectionate emotional stalkers well into adulthood. They still want interaction. They still want involvement. They still want reassurance that they're included in whatever's happening. And honestly, exclusion feels deeply offensive to them. Close a door? Suspicious? Go somewhere without them? Concerning. Give attention to another dog? Potential emotional crisis? This is one of the reasons Labradors often develop such strong bonds with their families. They're constantly investing time into those relationships. They're always nearby, always involved, always looking for the next opportunity to participate. The downside is that some labs become a little too dependent on that interaction, which is why boredom, loneliness, and separation issues can sometimes appear if owners aren't careful. Because to many Labradors, life isn't just about activities. Life is about doing activities with people. And honestly, that's probably one of the biggest clues to why they never seem to grow up. Young children constantly want to be included. They want attention. They want interaction. They want connection. Labradors often carry that same attitude throughout their entire lives, even when they're old enough to know better. Not that they'd ever admit it. Don't forget to check out our selected and recommended products. They might just be the perfect tools to make your life easier when it comes to caring for your pawed friend. 4. The food obsession never ends. If Labradors had to choose between world peace and a sandwich, the sandwich would at least make the final round of voting. These dogs are legendary for their relationship with food, and honestly, calling it a relationship might be underselling it. For many Labradors, food isn't simply something they enjoy. It's a lifelong passion project. A Labrador can finish an entire meal and immediately begin investigating the possibility of a second meal as if the first one never happened. Owners know this look. The bowl is empty, the dog has eaten, the meal is over. And yet somehow the Labrador is still staring at you like negotiations are ongoing. The funny thing is that this obsession rarely fades with age. A lot of puppies are food motivated. Labradors often stay food motivated forever. An 8-year-old lab will frequently react to treats with the same excitement it had as a puppy. Actually, scratch that. Sometimes the excitement gets worse, because now the dog has years of experience identifying potential food opportunities. And honestly, Labradors become surprisingly creative when food is involved. Suddenly, they're problem solvers, strategists, master detectives. The exact dog that forgot where it left its favorite toy somehow develops genius-level investigative abilities the second somebody opens a bag of snacks 3 rooms away. And what's amazing is how optimistic they remain. A Labrador can be fed perfectly on schedule every single day for years and still behave as if starvation is a realistic possibility. Breakfast? Necessary. Lunch? Necessary. Dinner? Necessary. Snack? Also necessary. Second snack? Let's discuss. And because they're so friendly and innocent looking, people constantly underestimate them. That's a mistake. A Labrador standing near food is basically running background calculations at all times. Distance, opportunity, probability of success, likelihood of human noticing. And honestly, many owners eventually learn that leaving food unattended is less of a suggestion and more of a gamble. What's especially funny is that Labradors never seem guilty about it either. A lot of dogs at least pretend to feel bad after stealing food. Labradors often look completely satisfied with the decision, like they reviewed all available evidence and concluded that eating your sandwich was simply the correct course of action. And honestly, this is another reason they feel permanently young. Children love food. Teenagers love food. Labradors love food. The difference is that Labradors somehow maintain the same level of excitement about snacks for their entire lives. No maturity, no growth, no emotional development, just unwavering loyalty to the concept of eating. And honestly, you've got to respect that level of commitment. 5. Personal space does not exist. One thing Labrador owners learn very quickly is that personal space is not a concept Labradors recognize, respect, or even believe exists. To a Labrador, if you're part of the family, then whatever you're doing is automatically a group activity. And honestly, they're completely serious about it. Trying to cook? Supervisor present? Trying to work? Supervisor present? Trying to watch TV? Supervisor present? Trying to use the bathroom for 90 seconds without being observed? Good luck. A Labrador's favorite place in the world is usually wherever its people happen to be. Not because they're being clingy on purpose. They just genuinely enjoy being included. And this is another reason they often feel like giant puppies. Because young dogs want constant connection, constant interaction, constant reassurance. Many Labradors simply never lose that mindset. The difference is that now the puppy weighs 70 pounds and accidentally blocks entire hallways. And honestly, their timing is incredible. You can spend an hour sitting quietly and the Labrador seems perfectly relaxed. The exact second you stand up to do something important, the dog appears beside you like it was secretly monitoring your movements the entire time. Which, to be fair, it probably was. And the funniest part is how physically close they want to be. Many labs don't just want to sit near their owners. They want contact, a paw touching your leg, their head resting on your foot, half their body draped across your lap, despite basic laws of physics strongly advising against it. And somehow they always look confused when you suggest that a full-grown Labrador might be slightly too large to function as a lapdog. In their minds, size isn't relevant. The important thing is emotional closeness. What's interesting is that this behavior often continues well into old age. The dog becomes physically mature. The dog becomes mentally mature. Sort of. But the desire to stay close never really disappears. And honestly, that's one reason people become so attached to Labradors. These dogs make it very clear that they enjoy your company. You never have to wonder whether your Labrador likes being around you. The dog makes that information available constantly. Sometimes excessively, sometimes while standing directly in a doorway you're trying to walk through. And yes, it can occasionally become frustrating, but it's also one of the breed's most lovable qualities, because for a Labrador, spending time with its favorite people isn't just part of the day, it is the day. And honestly, that's a pretty wholesome way to look at life. 6. Why they get away with everything. After spending enough time around Labradors, most owners eventually discover a frustrating truth. These dogs can get away with things that would get other breeds sentenced immediately. And honestly, it's almost entirely because of their personality. Because Labradors have mastered one of the most powerful survival strategies in the animal kingdom, being ridiculously likable. Think about it. A Labrador steals food off the counter. A Labrador knocks over a lamp. A Labrador drags mud through the house 5 minutes after the floor was cleaned. A Labrador destroys a toy it received 30 seconds ago. And yet, somehow the owner looks at the dog and says, "You little idiot," instead of, "You have committed crimes." And the Labrador knows it. Maybe not consciously, but somehow they know. Because these dogs have perfected the innocent face. The expression is legendary. You walk into a room and discover complete destruction. A pillow exploded, socks missing, something expensive damaged. And sitting in the middle of the scene is a Labrador looking at you with the exact same expression it had before the incident. No panic, no concern, no attempt to flee. Just, "Good afternoon." And honestly, that level of confidence is impressive. What's funny is that Labradors rarely come across as mischievous in the same way some other breeds do. A Husky looks like it's planning something. A Dachshund looks like it's challenging authority. A Labrador often looks genuinely surprised that consequences exist, like every bad decision was simply an unfortunate misunderstanding. And because they're so friendly, forgiving, and affectionate, owners constantly give them second chances, then third chances, then 15th chances. Because underneath all the chaos is usually a dog that genuinely means well. That's what makes them so hard to stay angry at. The Labrador isn't trying to ruin your day. The Labrador simply got excited and made several questionable decisions in rapid succession. And honestly, most owners can relate to that. This is another reason they feel permanently young. Children make mistakes. Children get carried away. Children act first and think later. Labradors do exactly the same thing. The only difference is that children usually don't weigh 35 kilograms and have access to your kitchen. And somehow, despite all the trouble they cause, people remain completely obsessed with them. Because Labradors have an incredible ability to make life feel lighter, more playful, less serious, even when they're directly responsible for the problem. And honestly, that might be their greatest talent of all. 7. Why people secretly love the puppy brain. After everything we've talked about, the endless enthusiasm, the food obsession, the lack of personal space, the attention-seeking, the questionable decision-making, and the complete inability to act their age, Labradors are still one of the most popular dog breeds in the world. And honestly, the reason is pretty simple. People don't actually want Labradors to grow up, at least not completely, Because the same puppy-like qualities that occasionally drive owners insane are also the qualities that make Labradors so lovable. Think about it. A Labrador can experience the exact same walk every day for 10 years and still act excited about it. The same toy, the same park, the same routine, the same people, the same life. And somehow they still find reasons to be happy. That's actually pretty rare. A lot of humans spend years looking for that kind of optimism. Labradors wake up with it naturally. And honestly, that's why owners become so attached to them. These dogs bring energy into a room. Not chaos, not drama. Energy. The good kind. The kind that makes people smile when they come home from a bad day. The kind that reminds people to enjoy simple things. Food, family, walks, friends, sunshine, tennis balls. To a Labrador, that's already a fantastic day. And maybe that's why so many owners forgive the flaws. The shedding, the stolen food, the muddy paws, the broken personal boundaries. The emotional overreaction to literally seeing a leash, because underneath all of that is usually a dog that's genuinely excited to spend another day with the people it loves. And honestly, that's hard not to appreciate. A lot of breeds impress people with intelligence. Some impress people with athleticism. Some impress people with loyalty. Labradors impress people with joy. They're basically professional happiness distributors, disguised as dogs. And yes, sometimes that happiness arrives at full speed and knocks over a chair. But the intention was good. Probably. At least according to the Labrador. So why do Labrador Retrievers never seem to grow up? Because in many ways, they never really lose the qualities that make puppies so lovable in the first place. The excitement, the curiosity, the optimism, the desire to be around people. The belief that every meal, every walk, and every visitor might be the greatest thing that's ever happened. And honestly, while that can sometimes be exhausting, it's also exactly why so many people adore them. Labradors aren't perfect. They can be messy, distracting, clingy, food-obsessed, and occasionally incapable of making mature decisions. But they're also affectionate, friendly, loyal, and unbelievably enthusiastic about life. The body becomes an adult, the face gets older, the muzzle turns gray, but somewhere deep inside, the Labrador brain stays convinced that today is going to be amazing. And honestly, that's probably why so many Labrador owners wouldn't change a thing. Don't forget to check out our selected and recommended products. They might just be the perfect tools to make your life easier when it comes to caring for your pawed friend.